Hey everyone, and welcome back, or if you're new here, my name is Josh, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Chase Freedom Flex credit card. So I'm going to be going over the main features of this credit card, the pros as well as the drawbacks. So hopefully by the end of this video, you should have a much better idea of whether or not this card is a good fit for you. Now, before I go ahead and dive into the main features of this card, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Also, if you would like to grab a few free stocks, in the description box below, I will be leaving a link where you can receive just that. Okay, so diving right into the review of today's video, first off, this card is going to be offering a spin bonus of $200 as long as you're able to spend at least $500 within the first 3 months. Now, $500 in the first 3 months really won't be that hard to achieve for most people, so that $200 spin bonus is pretty much all but guaranteed. In addition to that, you can also earn a lot of cash back with this credit card throughout the year in different transactions. So how this card works is you're going to be earning 5% cash back in certain categories every quarter. So from January through March, April through June, July through September, and October through December, they're going to have different spin categories where you can earn this 5% cash back. So for example, in 2023, from January through March, those categories were grocery stores excluding Walmart, Target, and then you'd also be earning 5% cash back at fitness clubs and on gym memberships. Then in April through June, you'd be earning 5% cash back at Amazon.com and at Lowe's. So you can pretty much see how that works every single quarter. This is certainly going to change. Now, other than those quarterly categories where you're going to be earning 5% cash back in, you're also going to be earning 5% cash back on travel purchase through the Chase Ultimate Rewards platform, 3% cash back on dining at restaurants, including takeout and eligible delivery services, 3% cash back on drugstore purchases, and then on all other transactions, you're going to be earning 1% cash back. Now, disappointingly enough, before earlier on this year and last year, you'd actually be earning 5% cash back on all grocery purchases, excluding Walmart and Target for the first year, on up to, I believe it was $12,000. They went ahead and they did away with that program for whatever reason. Now, in addition to all the cash back that you can earn with this credit card, you also have some other pretty great features as well. So for the first 15 months, you will have a 0% intro APR on both purchases and balance transfers. So that's pretty great, because if you have a lot of larger transactions coming up that you don't have the money set aside to pay off right now, you can make that transaction with this card and then slowly pay it off during the first 15 months, because you will have a 0% interest rate. However, once you get closer to that 15-month mark, I would highly recommend making sure that it is paid off in full, because you certainly do not want to be paying any interest. And then as far as the balance transfer goes, if you currently have another credit card that has a pretty high interest rate that you're paying a lot of interest on every single month, you could perhaps consider transferring that balance from that card over to this card. And again, for the first 15 months, you will have a 0% intro APR. Of course, this is not financial advice, but it is always something that you could certainly consider. Now, in addition to that, this card does not have an annual fee, so you don't have to sit around every single year and figure out whether or not the benefits that you're receiving with this card are worth paying an annual fee for, because there is no annual fee every single year. So that is pretty great as well. And then also, your cashback rewards never expire, so you don't have to rush to use them, because you can let them accumulate over time. Doesn't matter whether you let them accumulate over a year, 2 years, 3 years, it doesn't really matter. Your rewards never expire. With the Chase Freedom Flex card, you also have pretty good perks as well. So for example, through DoorDash, you can actually get a complimentary 3 months of Dash Pass, which is DoorDash's membership that provides unlimited deliveries with $0 delivery fee and reduced service fees on eligible orders on DoorDash and Caviar. And in addition to that, through March 31st of 2025, you'll be earning 5% cash back on all Lyft rides. So that's pretty great as well. And then finally, you can also get a complimentary 3 months of Instacart Plus membership that provides unlimited deliveries with $0 delivery fee and reduced service fees on eligible orders. Now, in addition to that, with the Chase Freedom Flex card, you'll also be receiving MasterCard World Elite benefits. So you can take 3 rides in 1 calendar month and pay with your World Elite MasterCard to earn a $5 Lyft credit. And you can also spend $20 at Fandango or on Fandango's streaming service and get a $5 Fandango reward. And then finally, you can enjoy a complimentary 1-year ShopRunner membership and get free 2-day shipping and free returns at your favorite stores. Now, you can also receive a lot of protection with your Chase Freedom Flex card as well. So of course, just like any other credit card, you will have zero liability protection. That means that if someone goes off and uses your credit card and you did not authorize them to use it, you will not be held liable for those charges. Also, you'll be able to receive purchase protection, so it covers your new purchases for 120 days against damage or theft up to $500 per claim and $50,000 per account. You'll also be receiving extended warranty protection, 24/7 fraud monitoring, and auto rental collision damage waiver. Now, in addition to that, you can also be reimbursed up to $1,500 per person and $6,000 per trip for your prepaid non-refundable passenger fares if your trip was canceled or cut short by sickness, severe weather, and other covered situations. You'll also be receiving cell phone protection and travel and emergency assistance services. Okay, so now that we went over the main features of this credit card, I'm now going to go ahead and jump into the APR and fees because that is super important as well. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, for the first 15 months, you will have a 0% intro APR on both purchases and balance transfers, but after those 15 months are up, you'll definitely want to make sure that your card is paid off in full, because after that, it will be bumped up to anywhere between 20.24% to 28.99% based on your credit worthiness. Now, as far as some fees go, on balance transfers, even though there is a 0% intro APR, there is going to be a fee of either $5 or 3% of the amount of each transfer, whichever is greater, on transfers made within 60 days of account opening. And then after that, it's going to be bumped up to either $5 or 5% of the amount of each transfer, whichever happens to be greater. Now, if you happen to take out a cash advance, which on this channel we recommend to stay far, far away from, there is going to be a fee of either $10 or 5% of the amount of each transaction, whichever happens to be greater. And then with this card, unfortunately, there is a foreign transaction fee of 3%. So if you do happen to travel abroad, this is a card that you'll probably want to leave back at home. Now, as far as some other fees go, if you happen to pay late or have a return payment, there is a fee of up to $40. Now, for the first time or two, if you happen to pay late, you could always try calling into Chase to see if you can get that fee waived. And although there is nothing guaranteed, it certainly wouldn't help to call in. For the first time or two, they might just waive that fee. Okay, so now that I went over the main features as well as the APR and fees of the Chase Freedom Flex card, I'm now gonna go into what I would consider to be the biggest pros and disadvantages of this credit card. So starting out with the good things, the first good thing, of course, is receiving 5% cash back every single quarter in different categories. This is going to be on the first $1,500 that you spend in those categories. So if you are able to max that out every single quarter, you could potentially earn $300 in cash back. Now, in one quarter, you might run into an issue where you really don't usually spend that much in those categories. And in that case, I would definitely recommend not spending in that category just to earn the cash back. I would spend as you normally would and then spend using this credit card whenever the category hits that you usually spend in that particular quarter. So in addition to the 5% cash back rotating categories, you're also going to be earning 3% cash back at restaurants on dining in and takeout, and then also 3% cash back at drugstores as well. Now, in addition to that, a couple of other really good things about this credit card, at least in my opinion. First off, there is no annual fees. So once again, you don't have to sit around every single year and wonder whether or not it's worth paying an annual fee for this credit card with the benefits that you're receiving back. Because once again, with this card, there is no annual fee. And then finally, for the first 15 months, you will have a 0% intro APR on both purchases and balance transfers. So again, if you have a lot of larger transactions coming up, you could perhaps consider putting it all on this card and then slowly paying it off over the first 15 months. Okay, so now that I went over the best things to this card, time to go into some of the drawbacks. The first drawback, at least in my opinion, is the fact that on all other transactions, not in that 5% cashback category, not in the 3% cashback category, unfortunately, you are only going to be earning a measly 1% cashback. So if you're going to spend in a category that's not going to be 5% cashback, in those rotating categories and you're not going to be spending in the 3% restaurant or drugstore category, I would highly recommend using another credit card. You could look into the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. On all purchases with that credit card, you are going to be earning 2% cash back, so that is always something that you could consider. Also with this credit card, if you do happen to travel abroad, it's probably a card you'll want to leave back at home just because there is going to be a 3% foreign transaction fee. Instead of using this card, perhaps you could consider using one of the cards from Capital One because they do not have any foreign transaction fees. And then finally, if you're just starting out in the credit card game and you don't have a very good credit score, that's going to be the last drawback of this card, is that it does usually require a good to excellent credit score. So if you don't have at least a good to excellent credit score, it's possible that you may get denied of this credit card. Now, of course, they are going to look into other factors as well. So it's very possible that you have an excellent credit score, but you may still get denied. For example, if you have opened too many credit cards in the recent past. But just to sum things up here real quickly, all in all, I would definitely say this is a pretty good credit card to have. Just the fact that you have the opportunity to earn all the way up to 5% cash back in those rotating categories is definitely a very good thing. And then also it's a very easy spend bonus to earn $200 as long as you're able to spend at least $500 within the first 3 months. Most people are probably not going to have too big of troubles hitting that spend bonus, so that is really great as well. So yes, I would definitely recommend this card, but as usual, you'll definitely have to look into the fine print and make sure that this credit card is a good fit for your financial lifestyle. But that's all I have for today's review. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.